Did you know that in the early 80s, a car came along that confused the entire auto industry? It was a compact car that could handle mud, snow, and rough terrain like a truck, but looked like something that you'd take to the racetrack. This car broke all of the rules of what a vehicle was supposed to be, leaving experts wondering if it was a revolutionary genius move or a complete flop. Back in the early 80s, when the auto industry was all about traditional family sedans, fuel efficiency, and classic muscle cars, AMC decided to do something radically different. They created a car that didn't quite fit into any category. Was it a sports car, an off-road vehicle, or a commuter car for snowy streets? The answer? All of the above. And that was precisely what made it so unique, yet confusing for so many. The AMC Eagle SX4 was introduced in 1981 as part of AMC's larger Eagle lineup, which already included more conventional sedans and wagons. But the SX4 took things to another level by combining sporty looks, all-wheel drive capabilities, and a lightweight compact frame. This car was truly ahead of its time, and in many ways, it laid the foundation for what we now know as the crossover SUV. Let's take a closer look at the design of this strange car. On the surface, the AMC Eagle SX4 looked like a sporty two-door fastback coupe. It had a sleek body, a sharp rear spoiler, and a stance that gave it an almost athletic appearance. It was based on the AMC Concorde, but had a more aggressive look, especially when compared to the rest of the AMC Eagle lineup, which consisted of more traditional sedans and wagons. The SX4 was powered by two main engine options. You could either get the 2.5-liter Iron Duke, which was a trusty inline-4 engine sourced from General Motors, or you could opt for the more powerful 258 cubic inch inline-6. Now, neither of these engines were going to make the SX4 a muscle car, but they did provide enough power to make this small, lightweight car both fun to drive and capable of handling tough off-road conditions. What really set the SX4 apart from its competitors was its Select Drive system. This innovative technology allowed drivers to switch between two-wheel and four-wheel drive with the simple flick of a dash-mounted switch. This might seem like a small detail now, but in the early 80s, this was groundbreaking. Most four-wheel drive systems at the time required you to manually engage the hubs, which often meant getting out of the car and messing with complicated mechanics. With the SX4, AMC made it easy for drivers to switch between off-road and on-road driving modes, making it incredibly versatile. Speaking of versatility, let's talk about what the AMC Eagle SX4 could do off the road. What if it's in the middle of winter and the streets are packed with snow? Most cars are stuck sliding around, and even some trucks can't make it through the deep snow drifts. But then there was the AMC Eagle SX4, moving through the snow with ease, as if it was built for these conditions. In fact, Car and Driver tested the SX4's off-road performance back in 1981 by driving it into a snow-covered field to push it to its limits. Even though they were trying to get it stuck, the SX4 handled the snow impressively well. Its ground clearance and four-wheel drive system allowed it to plow through, showing that it wasn't just another compact car. While it wasn't the most powerful off-roader out there, it performed extremely well for its size. It could handle challenging terrain like snow, mud, and rough roads that most small cars couldn't even manage. The SX4 had the nimbleness of a smaller car combined with off-road capabilities. Though it couldn't do heavy-duty tasks like pulling a truck out of a ditch, it proved to be a reliable and capable off-road vehicle. So, why did this car leave so many people confused? The AMC Eagle SX4 didn't fit neatly into any one category, and that was a problem for buyers and critics alike. Most people in the early 80s expected their cars to be one thing or another. A truck was a truck, a sedan was a sedan, a sports car was a sports car. But the SX4 blurred the lines. It had the looks of a sporty coupe, but the rugged capabilities of a truck. Its identity crisis left many wondering, what exactly was this car for? Was it meant for urban drivers who wanted extra traction in the winter? Was it for off-road enthusiasts who needed something smaller and more agile than a Jeep? Or was it simply a cool, quirky alternative to the more boring family cars on the market? The answer, again, all of the above. But that made it actually tough to market. It wasn't quite as fuel efficient as other compact cars, nor as powerful as full-size off-roaders, and it certainly wasn't a traditional sports car. Today, the AMC Eagle SX4 has developed a cult following among car enthusiasts. People love it because it's rare, quirky, and totally unique. It's one of those cars that makes you stop and think, what were they thinking? But in the best way possible. In 2021, at the Hot Rod Power Tour, an absolutely stunning modified version of the 1983 SX4 made waves. This particular model featured satin paint, carbon fiber look fender flares, and a 2-inch suspension lift to accommodate larger tires. The car's owner had clearly taken the time to bring this Eagle back to life in style. It even had a 4.7-liter stroker engine under the hood, replacing the original Iron Duke or inline-six, adding modern fuel injection to improve performance and reliability. It's quite clear that for the people who love the SX4, it's more than just a car. Even with the SX4's undeniable charm and ahead-of-its-time design, it couldn't save AMC from its financial troubles. By the early 1980s, AMC was struggling to stay afloat, and its partnership with Renault wasn't enough to stop the bleeding. The SX4 had a short production run from 1980 to 1983 before AMC was eventually acquired by Chrysler. One of the biggest challenges facing the SX4 was its fuel economy. While the Select Drive system was revolutionary for switching between two-wheel and four-wheel drive, the car wasn't exactly a gas saver. It had an EPA rating of 17 miles per gallon in the city, which wasn't terrible for an off-road capable vehicle. But it didn't help to attract buyers during a time when gas prices were rising and fuel efficiency was becoming a top concern. Even with its short-lived production and initial confusion among buyers, the AMC Eagle SX4 left a lasting impact in the automotive world. It's often considered a precursor to the modern crossover SUV, a vehicle that combines off-road capabilities with everyday driving comfort. Today, we see cars like the Subaru Outback and the Volvo XC90, which owe part of their DNA to cars like the SX4. In fact, you could say that AMC was way ahead of the curve with their thinking. They recognized that there was a market for people who wanted a versatile car, one that could handle rough terrain without the bulk of a truck or traditional SUV. Unfortunately for AMC, the rest of the world wasn't quite ready for this kind of vehicle. But for those in the know, those who appreciated the quirks, innovations, and bold risks taken by AMC, the Eagle SX4 is nothing short of a legend. In the years since its discontinuation, the SX4 has become something of a collector's item, particularly for those who love rare and unusual cars. These cars are hard to come by, but when you do find one, they often come with a rich history of customization and care. Take, for example, the father-son project car that we mentioned earlier, where a 17-year-old worked with his dad to restore and modify an SX4. It's stories like these that keep the legacy of this car alive. For those who have owned or driven one, the SX4 leaves a lasting impression. Its versatility, combined with its unique design and off-road prowess, make it a car that's truly one of a kind. And that's the story of the AMC Eagle SX4, the rare off-road sports car that confused everyone and blazed a trail into the future. It may not have been a commercial success, but it was a symbol of AMC's creativity, innovation, and willingness to take risks. And if you love rare and unique cars, be sure to check out our next video where we get into another powerful muscle car.
Storyblocks Audio.